Namaskar, I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Welcome to Midday Prime. Counting day for Bihar elections tomorrow. We will take stock of the preparation. Meanwhile, owing to deteriorating air condition in Delhi and other parts of the country, important direction by National Green Tribunal, NGT has announced total ban on crackers from midnight tonight to November 30th in Delhi and nearby areas. More on that in the show up ahead. Glimpses of celebrations in President-elect Joe Biden camp in the United States. All that and more. First, the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates and lays foundation stone of various developmental projects worth over 600 crore rupees in Varanasi. Calls for local for Diwali, asks countrymen to buy local products so that joy of festivals can be shared with all. Says boost to infrastructure in Varanasi has prompted development. Bihar all set for counting tomorrow. All arrangements by Election Commission in place. Fate of candidates on 243 assembly seats to be decided tomorrow. Exit polls predict close fight between NDA and Mahagathbandhan. It's a blanket ban on sale of firecrackers in Delhi NCR from midnight tonight till 30th November by NGT. Cities and towns with moderate air quality or below allowed to sell green crackers. Timing for use and bursting of crackers to be restricted to 2 hours during festivals. Air pollution levels in Delhi and surrounding areas in severe category. Thick blanket of smog at many places in national capital. Air quality index shows severe air pollution level at many places. India reports 37th day of recoveries, outnumbering new cases for the second day. New cases reported in the last 24 hours below the 50,000 mark. 45,903 persons test positive. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan holds virtual meeting with health ministers of 9 states. Bombay High Court to pronounce its order on plea filed by Republic TV chief Arnab Goswami challenging his arrest by Mumbai police in a 2018 abetment of suicide case and seeking interim bail. Storm Eta moves from Cuba, Florida bracing for the tropical storm. Eta is forecast to become a hurricane when it moves on the southeastern part, Gulf of Mexico, in the next couple of days. Let's now begin with the big news. To scale up infrastructure to new heights in Varanasi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated and laid the foundation stones for various developmental projects via video conferencing today. In his address, Prime Minister Modi said that Varanasi is growing fast in every field, from electricity to sports, from farmers to villagers. New pace of development has been achieved.
मां गंगा की स्वच्छता से लेकर स्वास्थ्य सेवाओं तक, रोड और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से लेकर पर्यटन तक, बिजली से लेकर युवाओं के लिए खेलकूद तक और किसान से लेकर गांव गरीब तक हर क्षेत्र में बनारस विकास की नई गति प्राप्त किए हुए है.
And Prime Minister Modi further said that the government is committed to develop Ganga. The commitment is also the resolve of Kashi and the path of new possibility for the region. Gradually, the picture of Ghats is also changing.
आज गंगा एक्शन प्लान प्रोजेक्ट के तहत सीवेज ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट के रिनोवेशन का काम पूरा हो चुका है. साथ ही शाही नाला से अतिरिक्त सीवेज गंगा में गिरने से रोकने के लिए डायवर्जन लाइन का शिलान्यास भी कर दिया गया है. मां गंगा को लेकर ये प्रयास, ये प्रतिबद्धता काशी का संकल्प भी है और काशी के लिए नई संभावनाओं का रास्ता भी यही है। धीरे धीरे यहां के घाटों की तस्वीर बदल रही है। गंगा घाटों की स्वच्छता और सुंदरीकरण के साथ साथ सारनाथ भी नए रंग रूप में निखर रहा है।
And Prime Minister Modi also added that Varanasi is moving on the path of better connectivity. The road connecting Babatpur to the city has also become the new identity of the city.
बनारस की कनेक्टिविटी हमेशा से हमारी सरकार की सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता रही है। काशी वासियों का और काशी आने वाले हर पर्यटक, हर श्रद्धालु का समय सड़क जाम में न व्यर्थ हो, इसके लिए नए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का निर्माण किया जा रहा है। बनारस में आज एयरपोर्ट पर सुविधाएं बढ़ रही हैं। बाबतपुर से शहर को कनेक्ट करने वाली सड़क भी अब बनारस की नई पहचान बनी है। आज एयरपोर्ट पर 2 पैसेंजर बोर्डिंग ब्रिज, उसका लोकार्पण होने के बाद इन सुविधाओं को और विस्तार होगा।
And Prime Minister also appealed to people of Varanasi and the nation to go for local products so that the joy of the festive season can be shared with all.
आजकल आप देख रहे हैं लोकल के लिए वोकल, वोकल फॉर लोकल। इसके साथ ही लोकल फॉर दिवाली, इसके मंत्र को, इसकी गूंज चारों तरफ अब सुनाई देने लगी है। मेरा बनारस के लोगों से भी और देशवासियों से भी मेरा कहना है, लोकल फॉर दिवाली को खूब प्रमोट करें, खूब प्रचार करें। हर एक व्यक्ति जब गर्व के साथ लोकल सामान खरीदेगा, लोकल की चर्चा करेगा, लोकल प्रोडक्ट का गौरव करेगा, नए नए लोगों तक ये बात पहुंचाएगा कि हमारे लोकल प्रोडक्ट कितने अच्छे हैं, कितने शानदार है, किस तरह हमारी पहचान है, तो ये बातें दूर दूर तक जाएगी।
And speaking on the agriculture sector, Prime Minister said that farmers of Varanasi, Purvanchal, facility ranging from storage to transport have been prepared.
हमारे लिए गर्व की बात है कि इस साल पहली बार वाराणसी क्षेत्र से फल, सब्जी और धान को विदेश के लिए निर्यात किया गया है। गांव, गरीब और किसान आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान के सबसे बड़े स्तंभ भी हैं और सबसे बड़े लाभार्थी भी हैं। हाल में जो कृषि सुधार हुए हैं, उनसे किसानों को सीधा लाभ होने वाला है। बाजार से उनकी सीधी कनेक्टिविटी सुनिश्चित होने वाली है। किसानों के नाम पर किसानों की मेहनत को हड़प जाने वाले बिचौलियों और दलालों को अब सिस्टम से बाहर किया जा रहा है।
Let's now move on to our developing story. Let's now get all the news coming in for the Bihar elections. And all arrangements are in place for the Election Commission of India for counting of votes for the assembly elections in Bihar on Tuesday. The counting will begin at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Postal ballots will be counted first, as is a tradition. There will be more than 24 rounds of counting this time. For the counting of votes, 55 counting stations have been set up across 38 districts of the state. where counting of votes will be done following COVID protocols. Three-tier security arrangements have been made at counting centers, while CRPF and other central paramilitary forces will man the internal security cordon. Bihar military police and civil police jawans will be deployed in second and third cordons respectively. Election Commission has said that the counting tomorrow shall also be held in a safe and transparent manner. The counting will be held tomorrow for a number of assembly by-polls in several states as well. This includes Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Manipur and Lok Sabha by-election as well in Valmiki Nagar constituency of Bihar. Of course, you can watch the live coverage on DD News of all the counting action for accurate results from our reporters deployed at all polling stations. And Bihar CEO HR Srinivas joins us live from Patna. Our correspondent Vinod Mishra guesses this live in exclusive. Let's listen in. Vinod ji, we took a look at the preparations. Yeah.
कोरोना काल में ये बिहार,
Yes, Vinod ji, please continue.
कोरोना काल में जो बिहार का ये इलेक्शन है, ये इलेक्शन पे पूरे दुनिया की नज़र लगी हुई है और हमारे साथ हैं आज इलेक्शन कमीशन चीफ इलेक्शन ऑफिसर जो है हमारे श्रीनिवासन जी। मैं सीधे उन्हीं के से जुड़ता हूं कि सीधे आपसे बात करते हुए कि सर कि आपको इस इलेक्शन ये शानदार इलेक्शन कराने के लिए बधाई। और मैं ये जानना चाहूँगा कि अमेरिका के इलेक्शन के बाद बिहार का इलेक्शन कोरोना पेंडेमिक में सबकी नज़र इस पे रही थी कि इलेक्शन संभालना, इलेक्शन कराना एक चैलेंजिंग था और आपने इस इलेक्शन को सक्सेस कराया है और कल जो काउंटिंग है वो भी उतना ही चैलेंज है। क्या प्रिपरेशन है सर आपके लिए इसके लिए?
देखिए, बिहार में कोविड पैंडेमिक के बीच में इस तरह से सुव्यवस्थित निर्वाचन करने का सारी श्रेय भारत निर्वाचन आयोग का है, जिन्होंने इतना महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय लिया और आयोग का ही निर्देश मॉनिटरिंग का आलोक में ही हम लोग ये सारी प्रिपरेशंस और एग्जीक्यूशन कराया गया है। अभी कल मतगणना है, अभी 3 फेज़ का हम लोगों का मतदान समाप्त होने के बाद कल मतगणना है। इसके लिए भी पुख्ता इंतजाम है। इसमें भी भारत निर्वाचन आयोग का आदेश और इंस्ट्रक्शंस बहुत स्पष्ट हैं। हमारा काउंटिंग सेंटर और स्ट्रांग रूम जो है उसमें 3 टियर सिक्योरिटी का इंतज़ाम किया गया है। इनर मोस्ट जो रिंग है उसमें सेंट्रल पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स है, सेकेंड रिंग में हमारा बिहार मिलिट्री पुलिस है और आउटर रिंग में डिस्ट्रिक्ट आर्म पुलिस है। इस तरह से सिक्योरिटी का पुख्ता इंतजाम है काउंटिंग सेंटर और स्ट्रांग रूम में। ये भारत निर्वाचन आयोग ने इस सुरक्षा व्यवस्था को अरेंज करने के लिए 19 कंपनी पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स दिया है। ये फोर्स प्लस हमारा स्टेट पुलिस फोर्स, ये सब हम लोग का सुरक्षा में लगा हुआ है। इसके अलावा जनरल लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मेंटेन करने के लिए 59 पैरामिलिट्री फोर्स कंपनीज दिया गया है। 144 धारा के तहत सभी डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट्स ने ऑर्डर भी इशू किया है। जुलूस, विक्ट्री रैली ये सब निकालने पर प्रतिबंध लगा हुआ है और कोविड गाइडलाइंस का सख्त अनुपालन के लिए नंबर ऑफ काउंटिंग हॉल्स, काउंटिंग सेंटर्स हम लोग बढ़ाए हैं। इस बार 55 काउंटिंग सेंटर में हम लोग का मतगणना होगा और सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग, सैनिटाइजेशन, ग्लव्स, फेस मास्क ये सब का भी इंतजाम किया गया है।
सर सबसे बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ ये है कि बिहार के लोगों का जो आपने पार्टिसिपेशन देखा होगा और वो पार्टिसिपेशन इतना कोरोना के काल में भी इतने शानदार इलेक्शन में जो टर्नआउट रहा है, जो पिछले 2019 का भी और 2015 की भी बात करें तो लोगों ने कभी भी मायूसी नहीं दिखाई है टर्नआउट करने में। जाहिर सी बात है कल का जो काउंटिंग डे का जैसे रिजल्ट आएगा और रिजल्ट के लिए जो पूरे दुनिया की नज़र है और खास करके बिहार में तो लोगों को एक बड़ी नज़र तो इस पर लगी हुई है। तो इस तरह से जो लोगों का जो एक अपना एंजाइटी है इस चीज़ को समझने के लिए, तो पब्लिक में ये इलेक्शन का रिजल्ट आए और लोगों के बीच में जानकारी जाए, तो इसके लिए कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन है कि हर बूथ का कैसे इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर होगा जो लोग अपने घर से भी इसको संभाल सके और देख सके, कहीं भीड़ न लगाएं, ऐसी कोई व्यवस्था है आपके पास?
निश्चित रूप से भारत निर्वाचन आयोग ने इसमें भी बहुत महत्वपूर्ण कदम उठाया है। हम लोग का हर पोलिंग स्टेशन का हर राउंड वाइज हर असेंबली कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी का डाटा भारत निर्वाचन आयोग की वेबसाइट पर उपलब्ध है। सटीक और स्पष्ट आप लोगों का इन्फॉर्मेशन भारत निर्वाचन आयोग की वेबसाइट से आपको प्राप्त होगा। सभी लोग अपने अपने घर में बैठ के इसको एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, देख सकते हैं।
ये बहुत शानदार चीज है कि
जी।
इलेक्शन कमीशन ने इस बार लोग कहीं भी भीड़ लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है, कहीं भी एक जगह जमा होने की जरूरत नहीं है। लोग जब चाहेंगे हर इलेक्शन बूथ का एकदम फ्रीक्वेंटली उनको ये सूचना मिलती रहेगी, हर जो लीड है और ट्रेल है हर चीज को लोगों को मिलती रहेगी। मैं श्रीनिवासन से सबसे ज्यादा जानकारी ये लेना चाहूंगा कि बिहार की जो स्थिति है और इलेक्शन को लेके जिस तरह से लोग अपने को रिएक्ट करते हैं, इसमें लॉ एंड ऑर्डर के सिचुएशन में वो किस तरह से इस चीज को संभालने की बात कर रहे हैं और क्या एप्रीहेंशन है इस तरह की कोई चीजें, तो इसको कैसे टेकल करेंगे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के रूप में, ये भी एक महत्वपूर्ण चीज है।
बिहार में निर्वाचन बहुत शांतिपूर्ण होते आ रहा है। अभी 2019 का जो हम लोगों का लोकसभा इलेक्शन था वो भी बहुत शांतिपूर्ण था। इस बार इलेक्शन भी 3 चरण में जो हुआ बहुत ही शांतिपूर्ण चला, जबकि हम लोगों का फर्स्ट फेज में बहुत सारे इलाका ऐसा था जो नक्सल प्रभावित था। एक चिटपुट घटना भी नहीं हुआ। तो ओवरऑल हम लोगों का तीनों फेज का मतदान बहुत शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से हुआ है और मुझे पूरा उम्मीद है कि मतगणना के दौरान या मतगणना के उपरांत भी इसी तरह से शांति बनाए रखेगा। बिहार की जनता इसके लिए बहुत ही सक्षम है और समझदार है।
जी विनोद, if you can put a question to the chief election
ये
officer.
हमारे साथ थे एच.आर. श्रीनिवासन जी।
If you can just put one question to, Vinod ji, to the CEO
देखिए
of
मैं एक
Bihar.
चीज मैं आपको
जी, अच्छा विनोद जी बताएं।
या कैरी ऑन।
Gee, the question is this, that
carry on.
the result day is also a big day for political parties. We know whoever wins, the party workers tend to get into celebration mode. But given the COVID challenges, what is the direction of the Election Commission for the political parties, political workers as well?
Sir, do you have any direction for political parties to maintain SOP of COVID time?
Definitely, all along during the entire election period, we have requested them. The Election Commission of India issued very detailed guidelines for COVID safety protocols, and as per the direction of ECI, we have also issued at state level as well as district and AC level. In fact, political parties and candidates are the major stakeholders in this election, and they have all been aware of the various safety measures that each and every one of them have to comply with.
थैंक यू सर, डीडी न्यूज से आपको बात करने के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सबसे बड़ी बात यह कि श्रीनिवास जी इस बात को उम्मीद जता रहे थे कि बिहार ने जो शांतिपूर्वक मतदान का जो रिकॉर्ड बनाया है, वही शांतिपूर्ण मतदान के बाद, काउंटिंग के बाद भी वो अपनी शांति व्यवस्था को बनाए रखेंगे। इसका भी एक रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए और कोविड के जो नियम है, कोविड के जो एसओपी है, उसको पालन करते हुए कहीं भी जो जलूस है और उन चीजों से बचेंगे।
Gee, there, Vinod ji, appreciate you joining us with those inputs.
मैं विनोद
Absolutely, and that exclusive conversation with CEO for elections in Bihar. Thanks also to Mr. Srinivas for getting us all the updates. Let's now also connect to my colleague Abhishek Jha, who is covering the Bihar elections, to get us updates from the ground. Big counting day is there tomorrow. Abhishek, if you could confirm if you're connected with us. We just learnt about from the Chief Electoral Officer about the elaborate preparation for the counting. Abhishek, what do you see around yourself? Extraordinary pandemic situation during the election, and now the final day has come. That is tomorrow, the counting. What arrangements do you see around you?
So, of course, Shubhendu, this time around, Election Commission had to arrange for two security protocols.
Yes.
Beside those strong security that used to be one of the key concerns of so many political parties and candidates, that the strong room should not be perforated or should not be it should be like leak proof. So with that security arrangement, this time around Election Commission had to also arrange certain health protocol for the counting officials. There has been made enough arrangement so that each table, the counting tables will have enough or appropriate distancing to maintain the social distancing in the wake of corona pandemic. Besides, mask, every counting official will be using mask also, sanitization and hygienic measures have been high this time around because of this COVID pandemic. Beside that, so far since the Bihar election has seen an almost smooth sail in terms of violence or disturbances, one can only hope the Election Commission's arrangement would still make this last exercise probably for this Election Commission in Bihar for this assembly election a smooth sail as well.
Right. Abhishek, of course, preparations by the Election Commission is one side of the story. The other side is a sort of self-regulation by the political parties and political workers, whatever the results may be for different alliances. On that front, what kind of conversation is on for and with political workers of different parties?
So, Shubhendu, coincidentally, this whole election exercise has happened just before the Deepavali.
Yes.
And now, almost 4 days from the day of counting, there will be Deepavali, there will be huge celebration. So, there is still so much of anticipation on both the sides that who is going to celebrate Diwali this time around. Whether it will be the incumbent government led by Nitish Kumar or Tej Pratap or Tejaswi Yadav, who is leading Mahagathbandhan, will have a huge Diwali celebration. Beside that, political candidates and political parties are making sure that their personnel or their representatives are also present at every strong room because they have, it has always been practiced by political parties to ensure that all the security protocols, all the safety measures that is put by the Election Commission at different counting centers are appropriately managed, and there is no disturbance or no disappropriation of any by any chances. So with this all arrangement in place, political parties, all hard work for months and weeks of rallies will come to an end, and we will be soon be able to know that who is going to be at the seat to govern the Bihar in the next maybe in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, Abhishek, also given that DD News will be presenting an exclusive coverage of Bihar elections, it has been doing that, and now tomorrow on the big day also. And given that American polls concluded recently, it took many days for the results to be out. Similar wait will not happen here in Bihar, I hope.
Of course, Shubhendu, the wait should not be as long as it happened in USA, but rest assured it's going to be as much interesting because of the two warring sides in political rallies and the fierce contest with each other and the promises they have made and the kind of stakes that are high, especially like few political parties can have their revival and few can submerge to their desperation. This time, after this time's election results will come out by tomorrow evening. So everybody, especially the Tejaswi Yadav, Chirag Paswan, Kanhaiya Kumar, he's also been one of the leader of Communist Party in Begusarai. So there are so many young leaders who have their political futures at stake. So many stalwarts like Nitish Kumar, Upendra Kushwaha, Chittaranjan Manjhi.
Yes.
They will also have to see whether their political career is going to be a continuing exercise or they will have to take some rest. But then another 24 hours and we'll have so much of clarity to tell about who is going to be Bihar and who is going to continue with his political career and who is going to sit.
Right, you're right, Abhishek. Many political destinies will be made tomorrow. Thanks very much for joining us with those inputs from Bihar. Moving on, meanwhile, counting of 28 by-election seats will be held by 8 a.m. tomorrow as well. In view of the sensitivity of 16 seats in Gwalior and Chambal divisions, Election Commission is very cautious and has decided to deploy additional forces at the same time. Through webcasting, Chief Electoral Officer will directly monitor through the office cameras all the proceedings. Special Police Supervisor, the Commission, M.K. Das, will be present throughout the time as well, so that any major decision that is required can be taken under special circumstances. Votes will be counted in all 19 districts along with all political parties, their representatives present. Administration has also made complete preparations for the counting of votes. The counting of votes in Strong Room has been completed. Counting will begin from morning and results will be clear by the evening. It will also be clear whether Kamal Nath will again go to the Chief Minister house or the house of Shivraj Singh Chauhan. He's going to remain the Chief Minister of the state. With more updates, Aditya, my colleague, is joining us from Bhopal. Aditya, simplify for us the significance of these elections, the by-elections, for the stability of the government in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, Shubhendu, the counting will begin from tomorrow 8 a.m. On 28 by-election seats. We can say the Election Commission is doing preparation according to the COVID protocol. No one can enter in a counting center without mask. Sanitizing all the polling station is properly sanitized time by time. Election Commission also doing webcasting. So the CEO of Madhya Pradesh also to monitor from their office by the cameras. Around 16 polling around 16 the counting centers are identified as sensitive, so the extra police force or armed force deployed on this 16 counting station. But yes, in this counting area, all the COVID protocol followed by the Election Commission. The Election Commission also give instructions to the political parties to don't make a crowd on the counting station. Only limited agents can enter into the the counting area. So we can say the Election Commission is trying to make a peaceful counting in all 28 area.
Right. A little more on the number game there, Aditya. How sensitive, how close is the battle for the BJP and the Congress? Because we've been talking about how these by-polls could possibly determine who continues to stay in the Chief Minister's house or change of cards.
Shubhendu, not challenging for BJP because BJP wants only 8 seats in this by-election for continue this BJP government. But if we talk about the Congress want all 28 seats for making the government. But okay. What is the result? This will be clear tomorrow. But this is very clear that the main challenging force is that the Congress is main. Congress want to 28 seats in this election.
There, Aditya, thanks very much for joining us with those inputs from Bhopal. Moving on now to our National Prime segment. Another big news. The National Green Tribunal, NGT, today imposed a complete ban on sale and use of all kinds of firecrackers in Delhi and NCR. The ban will come into effect from midnight tonight of November 9th and will last until midnight of November 30th. The NGT directions will apply to all cities and towns in the country where the average of ambient air quality during November, as per the available data of last year, fell under poor and above categories. The cities or towns where the air quality is moderate or below or better, for that matter, only green crackers will be sold, and timings for use and bursting of crackers to be restricted to 2 hours during festivals like Diwali, Chhath or New Year, as the case may be. As per the state concerned, presently state governments have their own set of guidelines with regard to permitting or banning the sale and use of firecrackers during festive season. And the air quality in Delhi has deteriorated further, falling into the severe category already. According to Central Pollution Control Board, the city's air quality index was recorded at 484 as of 8 a.m. this morning in Anand Vihar. AQI, or the index at ITO, was recorded at 472. Other areas in the national capital have also recorded AQI in the severe category. The System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research SAFAR has forecast that the air quality will stay at the severe levels to a higher end of very poor category today as well. The institution has advised people to avoid all physical activities outdoors. It has also asked people to stop any activity level if they experience any unusual coughing, chest discomfort, wheezing, breathing difficulty or fatigue. Air quality index between 201 and 300 is considered poor, 301 to 400 is very poor, and 401 above till 500 is considered severely poor air pollution state. And my colleague Vikas Sarthi is joining us with more inputs on the NGT order. Vikas, those of us living in Delhi NCR can already see this thick smog all throughout the day and night. Significance of this order by NGT, Vikas, if you could help us understand, and also how does it improve upon previous orders in earlier years to tackle pollution?
Right, Shubham. So far as the Delhi NCR is concerned, the situation is quite similar, which was last year. So the NGT has said that whatever was done in on previous years for Delhi, that will prevail. Only this time, the NGT has clearly stated that even green crackers will not be allowed in those cities where the air quality index is poor or worse. So that means in all those cities where air quality index is above 150, this ban will remain in force. So it will help in those cities, particularly smaller cities which have very high air quality index, but that air pollutions remain unchecked during last several years. So it is very significant for those cities. Apart from it, NGT has said that whatever directions Supreme Court has given in its 2018 judgment, those conditions will remain in force. That means places where air quality index is good or moderate, local administration can allow firecrackers, but with certain conditions, like all these fireworks will be done at a particular place, at a park or in a field, that only in that area firework will be allowed, only green crackers will be allowed. There is a particular time Supreme Court decided that for Deepavali, the fireworks will be allowed from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. During Guru Purab, this timing will be in the morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And in New Year and Christmas, around New Year and Christmas, the timings will be from 11:55 to 12:30 a.m. So the guidelines are already there by the Supreme Court. Now NGT has said that these guidelines must be followed and must be implemented fully.
Right. Now, because similar guidelines have also been given earlier, but I think the challenge also lies in implementation of these guidelines. How big a challenge is it for Delhi NCR and other administrations to implement it? What kind of punishment will there be anyone breaking this law, whether selling or burning crackers in these regions?
Right, Shubhendu, the implementation is a big problem for the administration. In fact, if you compare it with the cases of stubble burning, in stubble burning cases, you can identify farms and farmers, and you can keep an eye on them. But in this case, in firecrackers burning, it is very hard for administration to keep eye on each and every person. But so far as the fines are concerned, if a shopkeeper is found selling firecrackers, he may be fined up to 10,000 rupees. And for an individual who violates the NGT order or Supreme Court order, this fine is around 2,000 rupees. So fines are there, but the real, you were correctly saying that the real challenge is to implement these directions of NGT and the Supreme Court.
Yeah, also because NGT has identified that the challenge of air pollution, although it's big in Delhi NCR, but it also pertains to other parts of the country, and therefore the order does say that regions where the air quality is poor or worse, there this order will prevail. If you could help us understand how will that work? So does that mean now we're looking at the challenge of air pollution pan-India, this order?
Exactly, Shubhendu. So far as Delhi NCR is concerned, the issue of air pollution is always addressed by the Supreme Court or by the Delhi High Court. But these smaller cities, the air pollution in smaller cities is a real big challenge. In fact, some cities doesn't have proper mechanism to measure air quality index at all places in the city. So this order will be very helpful for those cities if it is implemented completely. Air quality index is, if air quality index is above 150, these guidelines, the NGT order will be applicable for those cities. In fact, when hearing was going on, Supreme Court, the NGT noted that around 122 cities are there where air quality index is either poor or worse. So now it is the challenge for the local administration to keep an eye on each and every person or each and every locality to ensure that that the directions of NGT is followed completely.
And a bigger role has to be played by the civil society as well, because festival season is on. Diwali in less than a week. People will have to come forward to make this a festival of light and not crackers.
Right, Shubhendu. It depends on the citizens. It depends on the each and every person, on each individual. For administration, it's a quite big task to implement this order because they don't have that kind of manpower to keep an eye on each and every mohalla, each and every village. In fact, as I was saying earlier, that even in the case of stubble burning, administration doesn't have proper human power, proper resources to monitor, to report those incidents. So you can imagine how tough it is for the administration to implement completely and fully these guidelines in case of firecrackers.
There, Vikas, thanks very much for joining us with those inputs. So each of us has a role to play, making sure that we enjoy the festivities but also take care of the environment around us. Thanks very much, Vikas. Moving on, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the Civil Secretariat, the seat of Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory Administration, opened in Jammu today after functioning in summer capital Srinagar for 6 months as part of a nearly 150-year-old practice known as Union Territory as the Darbar Move. Lieutenant Governor Jammu and Kashmir Manoj Sinha took salute as the Civil Secretariat reopened in Jammu as part of Darbar Move. Adequate security arrangements have been put in place to ensure smooth functioning of the Civil Secretariat, and other move offices include Raj Bhavan and police headquarters in Jammu. The practice of Darbar Move, under which the administration functions in Jammu during 6 months of winter and in Srinagar during summer, was started by Maharaja Gulab Singh. However, the practice was continued even after independence. The Civil Secretariat and others move offices which observe a 5-day week closed in Srinagar on October 30th, while offices observing a 6-day week closed on October 31st. Winter capital Jammu has been given a facelift ahead of Darbar Move, with administration sprucing up the roads, pedestrian walkways with repair and paint works. Now let's also take stock of the COVID situation. For the second day, new cases reported in the country last 24 hours did not cross the 50,000 mark. 45,903 persons have tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 24 hours. The daily cases continue to trend downwards with the success of Jan Andolan prompting COVID-appropriate behavior. The trend of recoveries outnumbering new cases has continued for the 37th day in a row. 48,405 cases of COVID recovering in the last 24 hours. This trend has continued to shrink the active caseload in India, which presently stands at about 5 lakhs, with a manageable contribution of 5.95% of India's total positive cases. India's active caseload stands at 5,09,673. The recovery rate has also been boosted, with the trend of recoveries exceeding new cases. It presently stands at 92.56%, the recovery rate. Total recoveries today stand at 79,17,373. The gap between recovered cases and active cases has also steadily widened. It stands at 74,07,700. India's cumulative positivity rate has also declined as the new cases decline. But still, the focus on testing remains a prime commitment of the centre and state and union territory governments. India's cumulative positivity rate has dropped to 7.19% today. 79% of the new recovered cases are observed to be concentrated in 10 states and union territories. Maharashtra has reported maximum number of single-day recoveries with 8,232 newly recovered cases. 6,853 people recovered in Kerala, followed by 6,069 in Delhi. 79% of new cases are from 10 states and union territories. Delhi reported the highest daily new cases, also its highest tally so far, with 7,745 new cases. Delhi is followed by Maharashtra with 5,585 cases and Kerala with some 5,440 cases. And India has leaped across a significant milestone in its fight against COVID-19, with a high number of COVID patients recovering every day. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare issued a graph that you can see on your screens showing cumulative positivity rate in the last 3 weeks. Meanwhile, the country has crossed another milestone in terms of COVID-19 testing. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, that's ICMR, 8,35,401 samples were tested in the last 24 hours, while the cumulative testing figure stands at 11,85,72,192. And Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan meanwhile chaired a virtual meeting with health ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Punjab, Rajasthan, Telangana and West Bengal on the COVID-19 pandemic. In the meeting, Health Minister said that the recovery rate in the country is increasing. He said, "Together we have fought this pandemic. Now extra caution is needed at the time of festivals to prevent further spread of corona. The state should ensure that people obey COVID-19 SOPs, that is wearing mask, practicing social distancing."
कोविड से जंग लड़ने के लिए कोई बहुत बड़ी रॉकेट साइंस का इस्तेमाल नहीं करना है। मास्क का ठीक प्रकार से इस्तेमाल करना है सबको। 2 गज की दूरी हर समय बनाकर रखनी है। हाथ को साबुन से, पानी से सैनिटाइज करके रखना है, धोते रहना है। अपने रेस्पिरेटरी एटिकेट्स का ख्याल करना है। और विशेषकर उन्होंने आगाह किया था कि अभी आने वाला समय ये फेस्टिवल्स का समय है, और साथ में आगाह किया कड़क सर्दी पड़ती है, वो वाले महीने भी आने वाले हैं और रेस्पिरेटरी वायरस है। रेस्पिरेटरी वायरस के ज़्यादा विंटर्स में फैलने की संभावना होती है।
And time now for all the update from the world of business and finance now. And my colleague Ajay Mishra has all the updates.
High on the bourses, the Sensex and Nifty has touched an all-time high, and we will go into the details of the story. Even as benchmark indices hit record high on Monday, more than half of the Nifty stocks are still underperforming massively. In early trade, the 50 share index hit all-time high of 12,451, while the Sensex also breached its lifetime high of 42,566. Data showed that around 27 stocks that constitute the Nifty index are still in negative. Overall, 21 stocks are down 10 to 45% from the last time Nifty hit a record high. Non-participation of more than half stocks in the index, while the Nifty hit record high in a span of nearly 10 months, indicates wide polarization in the stock market. Right now, we can see that the most active stocks on the bourses are Reliance, Device Lab, IndusInd Bank, ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank. We are now joined by KK Mittal. Mr. Mittal, is it the story of too much money chasing too few stocks? Because the rise in the markets are not widespread, but it is skewed in favor of some particular stocks. Mr. Mittal, are you with us? So if you see the current market situation, we can see that the top gainers on the Nifty are Device Lab, which is up 4.53%. ICICI Bank is up by 4.42%. Bharti Airtel is almost up by 4%. BPCL by 3.78%, and Axis Bank by 3.42%. While healthcare is the only sector right now which is currently trading into negative zone. Cipla, Adani Port, Maruti Suzuki, ITC, and Grasim. These are few stocks where the stocks are currently trading into the red. The Bank Nifty are the outperformer. The Bank Nifty is the outperformer right now, and IT is also buzzing with the rise in IT specific stocks. So Bank Nifty is at the level of 27,497, which is 2.61% up. IT is also up by 1.27%. Small cap and mid cap is also up by 0.43 and 0.82% respectively. Auto is likewise up by almost 0.5%. Consumer goods, consumer durables, FMCG are up. Only BSE healthcare sector is down as of now. So that's the whole story, Shubhendu, when it comes to stock market. But if we see the gold market, which is the favorite of most of our Indians in the festive times, we are witnessing some kind of buying into the gold in the future market. But things are not all good, and in the spot market they are still at very high level. And we are joined by KK Mittal, who is the stock analyst and financial market expert. Mr. Mittal, we were discussing about this current status of behavior of stock market, and we are seeing that it is skewed in favor of some of the favorite stocks. So it's a story of too much money chasing too few stocks. What do you have to say, sir?
Yes, liquidity is ample into the system. Interest rates are low. Either it is whole Europe, US, either around 1% or less than 1%, and in some of the European nations, it is negative. So till the time the interest rates are low or in negative, the liquidity is ample into the system, which is chasing the stock market, because otherwise the bond yield globally is very, very low. Properties are, real estate is not providing any return globally. So the only alternative left is the stock market, and the stock market, a lot of liquidity is coming up. With the election in US, there is instability in the US as well as this will have a result in the global stability also.
So going forward, how do you see the IT and pharma in particular, which are the export-oriented stocks with the new advent of government in the US? How do you see the export-oriented sectors going forward from here?
I think major changes in the policies may not take place in the short run, but all it depends how they take the policy decisions as far as pharma and IT sector is concerned. But IT sector, to my mind, will continue to perform because there is no dearth of new invention and new opportunities in the IT sector. Every day there are new innovations and new opportunities. So I am not expecting any slowdown in the IT sector. As far as pharma is concerned, for the time being, the pharma is going to be the sector where a lot of interests are going to be there. Because till the COVID and vaccination, I think next 1 year and 1.5 years is going to be very, very positive for pharma sector.
Thank you, Mr. Mittal, for joining us on this very special. So that's all in the Business Prime. For more news and updates, let's go back.
Thanks very much, Ajay. And you were right. In days to come, we'll have to wait and watch how does the US election result affect the exports and the economy, global and Indian economy at large. Thanks very much for joining us with those inputs. And let's now find out what's making news across the world. Some glimpse of US election results. Celebrations by supporters of Democrat Joe Biden continued in the United States. Some visuals that you can see. This is in Washington on Sunday, the day after he clinched the United States presidential election. A constant flow of people gathered near the White House at the Black Lives Matter Plaza to celebrate the elections of the new US leadership. A celebratory mood was in the air most of the day as people danced, sang, took photos to capture the moment in history. And former United States President George W. Bush on Sunday called up President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris to congratulate them on their election victory. In a statement, Bush extended congratulations and thanked Biden for the patriotic message he delivered on Saturday night. He also called Kamala Harris to congratulate her on the historic election to the vice presidency. The two-term Republican also congratulated Donald Trump for his extraordinary political achievement in winning 70 million votes. Bush's statement made him one of the country's most prominent Republicans to acknowledge Biden's victory and offer him congratulations. Meanwhile, US President-elect Joe Biden has announced a 12-member COVID-19 task force to mount an effective response to the pandemic that has infected millions and damaged the US economy in particular. The task force will be co-chaired by former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy, former Food and Drug Administration Commissioner David Kessler, and Marcella Nunn-Smith, a professor of public health at Yale University. It will also include Ezekiel Emanuel, a former Obama administration health advisor. Biden has promised a much more muscular response to the pandemic than what was offered by President Donald Trump. Biden had earlier said that he will spare no effort to turn around this pandemic. The virus has infected some 9.8, nearly 10 million people in the US and killed more than 237,000 people as daily cases continue to rise in the US. Let's now also take an update on COVID-19 pandemic from across the world. As of now, more than 5 crore 7 lakh coronavirus cases have been reported worldwide, with over 12 lakh 62,000 casualties. Over 3 crore 58 lakh people have also recovered from the viral infection. The United States, as we mentioned, continues to top the list among the worst hit countries by the pandemic so far, with the highest number of infection. US has crossed the 1 crore mark in terms of COVID-19 cases, with over 1 crore 2 lakh cases of coronavirus, and a death toll. In fact, the latest stands at 2,43,000 in the United States. Let's look at some other updates related to COVID. Slovakia has a second round of nationwide coronavirus testing on Saturday and Sunday in an effort to curb increasing infections. The country launched a huge logistical operation to test most of its population over 2 weekends, aiming to test all citizens aged 10 and above among Slovakia's 5.5 million people. The testing sites were opened at schools, sports grounds, theatres, car parks and companies. In Zelina, that's northwestern Slovakia, testing was conducted at an old synagogue converted into a cultural centre. Organisers took an opportunity to turn it into a cultural event. Residents arriving to take tests were greeted by sounds of music performed by a DJ outside of the centre. They were able to admire art in the museum while waiting for their test results. In some other news, general elections were held in Myanmar yesterday. Voting occurred in all constituencies to elect members to both the upper house and the lower house of the Assembly of the Union, as well as the state and regional Hyotao, as it's called in Myanmar. Supporters of Myanmar's ruling party, National League for Democracy, gathered on the streets in support of Suu Kyi. The general elections were held for the second time since the end of 5 decades of full military rule. Aung San Suu Kyi is expected to hold on to power even as the country struggles with the coronavirus pandemic, a spiraling conflict in Rakhine State, and the charges of genocide faced at the UN's top court. In Azerbaijan, people celebrated on the streets of Baku after President Ilham Aliyev said on Sunday that his country's forces have taken Shusha, which is the second largest city in the battle-torn Nagorno-Karabakh enclave. However, Armenian officials denied that the city has been captured. Adding to this, Turkey President Tayyip Erdogan congratulated Azerbaijan for allegedly capturing the Shusha city. Armenia's defense ministry has said that the heavy fighting for the strategic site is still on, although Defense Army of Nagorno-Karabakh say they have repelled multiple attempts by the Azeri side to advance on the town. In just over a month, Azerbaijan has retaken much of the land in and around Nagorno-Karabakh that had lost in a previous war over the territory in the 90s. Time now for all the action from the world of sports. And my colleague Narayana is joining us with all the updates from the world of sports.
Thanks, Shivendu. Let's get started with the tennis stories. Daniel Medvedev won Paris Masters for first time by beating Alexander Zverev 5-7, 6-4, 6-1 for his 8th career title and a third at Masters event. The third-seeded Russian secured just his second win against fourth-seeded Zverev in 7 matches, and his previous victory against the imposing German was also in Masters final last year in Shanghai. Medvedev clinched a victory on his second match point when Zverev double faulted for third time in the match. They would meet again at the season-ending ATP Finals in London from November 15 to 22. Moving to English Premier League, Gabriel Jesus cancelled out a Mohamed Salah penalty, but Kevin De Bruyne missed a spot kick as heavyweights Man City and Liverpool played out an entertaining 1-1 draw. Liverpool, fielding a 4-man attack, took an early lead in a gripping Premier League contest at Etihad Stadium when Salah struck after foul by Kyle Walker on Sadio Mane. City responded with a fine goal from fit against Jesus, but De Bruyne wasted the chance to put them ahead when he fired wide from 12 yards before the break. Both sides had opportunities in the second half, but neither could break through, meaning Liverpool dropped first to third over the course of the weekend, while City remained mid in the table. In another Premier League match, Leicester City went top of the Premier League with 1-0 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Striker Vardy made no mistake with his first spot kick on 15 minutes after Wolves were penalised for handball when Dennis Praet's cross hit Max Kilman's hand, sending keeper Rui Patricio wrong way. Jamie Vardy scored one penalty and had another saved. With this win, Leicester climbed to the top of the table with 18 points from 8 games, one ahead of Tottenham Hotspur. That's all from the sporting world. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thank you, Narayan, for joining us with all those updates. And time now to find out what's in store in Live Prime today. Let's now find out what's in store in Live Prime. And Madame Tussauds in London redressed Donald Trump's waxwork in the wake of US election results. The Waxwork Museum clothed the current president in golfing attire to reflect the fact that he will have more time at his hand in 2021 after losing the elections. And one wonders, how will Donald Trump take the humor implied in that redressal of the wax statue? With that, we conclude this edition of Midday Prime. Namaskar.